What are your thoughts right now on all this crypto mania? I mean, there are differences, huge differences between right now and 2017.
Sure.
Namely, the entry of, or at least one of them is the entry of institutional investors.
Yes.
And just a few months ago, Paul Tudor Jones and some other legends kind of dipping their toe in the water and beginning to make some allocations in their portfolios. Fund portfolios, which is a big difference, not just personal. I believe that's true. Somebody can fact check me. But what do you make of all this? This is a terrain that you're much more familiar with than I am.
Well, here's my take is that with any new, crazy, wild idea, come just a ton of skeptics, as there should be. And when Bitcoin was first launched, and we were all playing around with the very early wallets, and I remember just buying coins and picking them up. And I wasn't really early, like I wasn't, in the pennies, but I was buying them around $10, $12 a coin, something like that. And it was the Wild West. It was very difficult to do anything, to buy crypto, to we were all setting up mining rigs back then, and trying to mine our own Bitcoin. And then eventually pools came out so you could join in with other people to do it more efficiently. But this is fresh, new technology that hadn't been hammered and beaten on. And so, anytime there's something that is directly linked to your finances, it takes years or decades for people to get comfortable with a new emerging technology to where they'll commit any serious capital to that technology. So I think largely what we're seeing here is, well, one, it's there's a lot of stimulus money hitting the market. There's a lot of people buying on Square Cash App. There's it's much easier to purchase Bitcoin than it has ever been. It used to be you have to go to some shady exchange somewhere, hold up a picture of your driver's license with literally your date written underneath it to make sure it was you. Shady stuff that I've been on some of the exchanges. My identification has since been hacked on many of these exchanges. Thankfully, I don't live at any of those addresses that I had those IDs I was holding up in front of the camera. But I do get text messages of people trying to phish me all the time, trying to get me to
That's so creepy.
It's so crazy. Creepy. It happens at least twice a week. It's insane because my information is out there. So whatever. But the point being is that it was extremely difficult to get to purchase Bitcoin. And now, PayPal came online just a couple months ago and is offering the ability to purchase Bitcoin and Ethereum directly inside of PayPal. It's just insane how easy this is now. So you're unlocking massive customer bases, hundreds of millions of users with PayPal. Square Cash is I think the second or third largest buyer now of Bitcoin.
This is on the retail side, right? This is just on the retail side.
Yeah. So that's not even talking about the institutional money going in, right? So, I work at True Ventures, venture capital firm, several $1 billion under management. We have positions in Bitcoin. We've been doing that for a while. So
when you say you guys have positions in Bitcoin, that means you've invested in startups that focus on Bitcoin?
No, that means we actually own Bitcoin.
How does that work? As a venture capital fund, you're operating the private endowment?
Yeah, I mean, every fund is a little bit different. In our specific case, we have allocated as part of our formation documents for the fund, a certain percentage of the fund can be in cryptocurrency or cryptocurrency related companies. So we can say, I'm just throwing out a random number here. I'd have to go look at the docs, see what the actual number is, but let's just say 10, 15% of the fund, overall fund size. We have $600 million plus fund. That's, that you can only invest that much from this specific fund into cryptocurrency. And so, if we're going to go into and do a purchase, you typically dollar cost average your way in over a couple months and buy in a place that has really strong security. We don't hold this ourselves. It's not at our office. You're using there's big financial houses like Fidelity and Coinbase Custody and others that now provide these types of services.
You don't just have a bunch of hardware wallets sitting in your jacket pocket?
Yeah, it's right here. Yeah, just in my house. No, I don't. Actually, I don't mess with that stuff anymore. I used to have wallets and I actually had a laptop that I bought specifically for cryptocurrency, and I wanted to keep it in cold storage, meaning that back in the day when I was doing the craziest coins that you've never heard of on these weird exchanges, I went out, I bought a laptop. It was an Apple, hooked it up to the internet, did all the software updates, like just put the wallets on there, transferred the funds, and then immediately powered it down so that it wouldn't be online anywhere, hackable, and then put it in a safe. And like, that was the way I kept my cryptocurrency. It's crazy.
Wow. Yeah.
It's crazy. But yeah, so there's been enough time has gone on. This current run up though is just nuts. I mean, the thing you have to do with all these things is just don't look at the last 3 months, because it looks like a decent graph and you're like, oh, that looks reasonable. Maybe I should buy some. Like
look at the last year.
Yeah. Zoom out to the 5-year view, the 10-year view. Like that's when you see really what's happening here. And it's not even like a hockey stick. It's like, it's even more, it's like insane how the run up has been. And so I get nervous when you see, it's always a good tell around, well, in this case, it was like the virtual Christmas or Thanksgiving dinner when Uncle Harry is asking you if they should be buying Bitcoin. Like that's when I like my spidey sense tingles a little bit and be like, everybody wants this now, and it's just, I wouldn't be, if I were going to enter the market now, I would do it in a way that is, you pick the dollar amount, let's say it's $1,000, and this is not investment advice. I'm just telling you what I would do. Pick $1,000. And I would say, okay, I want to own Bitcoin. I believe in the future of Bitcoin. I think this isn't going away, which is all those things are true. And they are things that I believe. It's a proven technology now. Let's take that $1,000 and invest it over 6 months. And so just divide it up by 6 and then just do those, I'll say the first of every month, and just go in. It doesn't matter what the price is. You don't care. You just buy that set amount. And that way, at least you're averaging your way in over 6 months.
How do you personally think about crypto for yourself as part of your portfolio or percentage of your total? I mean, you're kind of famous for not famous. Well, you're famous to me for telling me when I should buy stuff and then not telling me when you've sold stuff, which I appreciate. So
I love that call, by the way. You're like, are you still holding this? I'm like, no, I sold it for like a 10X like 6 months ago. And you're like, I'm down, or something bad will happen. And you'll have been screwed by the fact that we didn't talk.
Yep. That happens with some fair frequency. But what is your current thinking in terms of crypto? Are you steering clear? Do you still have a certain position? Is it an investment for you? Is it an insurance policy for you? Some people have drawn that distinction just sort of philosophically as looking at cryptocurrency as an insurance policy or a hedge.
I think that over time, as a few things. One, let's just talk about the ecosystem in general. I think that 99% still today of the coins that you see on the market out there are just garbage. I think a lot of them, and it's hard for them really to go away. The volumes of the volume in trades that happen just decrease over time, but they still have these, somewhat impressive looking market caps just sitting out there, very stagnant. Developers kind of drop off. It's just kind of like they're left for dead, but they're still around. So there's a lot of that. A lot of interesting innovation happening in the kind of decentralized finance space. So they call it like DeFi. It's mostly happening on Ethereum. So there's a handful of projects where I say that's really interesting. It's almost like an angel investment now. I want to hold some of that, but with the understanding that this could go to 10% of the value it is today. And so extremely high risk, but still has the ability to have a 50x upside, right? So, or at least a 20 or 30x upside. If you just look at the market cap of Bitcoin today, there's not another 20 or 30x anytime soon coming to Bitcoin. It's just too big, right? Like the market cap is just too large.
How do you come to that conclusion?
Well, I mean, first of all, there's a few ways you can do it. I think that you just have to look at the market cap in general, which I don't have in front of me right now, but I can type it in. The other thing is just look at the proxies for this. So like, what is the market cap of gold, right? Of all gold out there. And it's in the trillions. Let me see here. So Bitcoin right now, the market cap is 82.49 billion. So, where would we be at if that's a 10x from now? Like, I mean, that's just insanity. I can't imagine that happening anytime soon. It would just be.
Now that's insane because of the comparables that you might put next to it.
Yeah, I mean, Apple is worth 2 trillion, right? And so, you just kind of have to, and I know it's not the same in that We're not talking about corporations here with cash flows and PEs and things that we would typically use to value a company. That is not this. The closest proxy that I think most people draw the comparison to is to just gold. What is, how much gold has been mined? How much do we believe is there in the earth? What are people holding for an investment? How much of it is actually being worn? Like, there's a lot of other ways. So there is a lot of potential upside in Bitcoin, but for me, it's not that I wouldn't hold it. I would definitely hold it. I think it's going to be a rocky, bumpy ride given the run up that's had recently, like it's been forever. Like, this has always been the case of Bitcoin. It's been very bumpy, but the new low is higher than the last low. And it just continues to kind of, like, it wouldn't surprise me to see this drop down to 25 or 30 again, but I don't think it's going to get back to 10. And there's just too many institutional buyers coming in. So, I like it because there are a lot of governments, the US included, are probably one of the biggest offenders, just printing money right now. It's really hard to understand what the value of a dollar is or what it will be in the future. This is a fixed number of coins forever that will never change. It's universally accepted, even more so every month, all over the world. So it's kind of a global reserve currency that I'm comfortable with. So I do like it for that.